corazón. Tú me pides corazón.
Hi Spain fans, all our chicos, hope all goes great. Richard here again, and welcome to the second in our series of videos with regards to the changes that have come into effect since Brexit for any who are looking to move over to Spain on a full-time basis, or indeed those that are coming over looking to find the perfect holiday home. In the first of our videos, which was very well received, we covered the changes with regards residencia, the necessity these days to apply for visas if you're coming for an extended stay, what requirements or criteria you have to meet to obtain these visas. In this film we cover another very important subject which would probably affect the majority of people who are thinking of moving over to Spain, either for a full-time home in the sunshine or to purchase a wonderful holiday home, or indeed any that are selling up in Spain and returning over to the UK. So since Brexit came in, undoubtedly the logistics of moving furniture from and to Spain have become decidedly more complicated, more complex and perhaps even more costly. We've had a great chat with an old friend, great guy, Burt, who co-runs a company long established here in Almeria called Indalo Transport and Storage. And Paul has been kind enough to go over, if you like now, the process involved from start to finish with regards moving furniture backwards and forwards. He's covered the changes to the process, he's covered the additional, planning that's required, the costings, will it take more time these days, etc. One thing that we found very interesting from speaking to Paul is that the demand for people coming over and ordering furniture removals is still very, very high. They've never been busier, so that's an absolutely fantastic thing, and long may that continue. Hope you find this video very useful, and if you do, please, as always, make us a comment, we'll get back to you, give us a like, and please do subscribe.
So is it possible to bring your furniture from the UK to Spain? Of course it is. We don't have great freedom of movement like we used to. The only differences these days are customs control and the tax regime, which means to say that if you're not going to be resident in Spain, you could end up paying VAT on bringing your goods across to Spain. You will pay VAT, IVA, 21%, on the declared value of your goods. Whereas if you're actually coming to Spain as a resident and you already have residencia in process or it's been approved, then you can move your goods here without any fear of paying VAT. Okay, just to go back on the tax situation, if you have residencia approved, if you're coming to live in Spain full time and it's in the process and it's provable, you can move your goods free of IVA. 21% is the current rate of IVA. So yeah, basically no tax payable. There is an additional charge on top of that because there is paperwork that we need to provide to the customs authority to negate the transfer of residency, the VAT. That's just a one-off payment. Typically it's a couple of £100 to get the whole consignment, the whole furniture, the whole amount of furniture into Spain without any IVA. The biggest changes since Brexit, apart from the tax implications that I've already said, is the amount of administration that we as transporters and removers have to go through. So we're in constant contact with our customs agents. We're used now to dealing with the Inland Revenue. We've become almost like tax experts. The biggest thing, I think, from a customer's point of view, is the planning that needs to go into it. It's a tremendous amount of planning needed now because of all the paperwork and the timescales. That's a big change, whereas before you really could just load a removals van and hop across the channel. Sadly, it's not quite as easy in this climate. Okay, I mentioned the planning. So what does a client, what do our customers have to do to get to Spain? We basically survey every job that we look to bring across. So myself or one of the other surveyors will actually visit the property. work out the size, the volume, the weight of the furniture, of the load to come, any specific packing requirements that are needed. That then is produced in a quote, and then we will produce a plan as well. Now that plan is dependent on the client's circumstances, so we would need to know, are they resident in Spain? Is it going to be a holiday home? What are the tax implications applicable to them? So that's where the plan starts, but that's a plan that we put in place with the client. And I mentioned before a one-off payment that we charge, which is typically a couple of £100 for the customs process. That includes the planning process as well. So we will take a client from cradle to grave, if you like, or from start to finish, so from the UK to Spain or from Spain to the UK. We will take care of all that in one go. Other companies may do it differently. I know smaller companies would struggle with the amount of admin, and we have single operators, a few people locally that run van services. They actually come under our umbrella, and we'll help them do that. Okay, Richard, so if we've got people moving under the terms of a non-lucrative visa, if they were bringing their furniture across, what would the situation be for them tax-wise, I suppose? Well, tax-wise is quite simple. They're not resident. There is no residency moving forward. So under the terms of a non-lucrative visa, you would be liable for 21% of the value of your furniture. Now, the value of personal goods is a moot point. If you think of your clothes, they're worth pennies to anybody else. Just think of a charity shop. Furniture-wise, again, precious bits and pieces may have some specific values, but generally furniture is not huge, so the amount of tax you'll pay will be based on what you decide the value of your furniture to be. Okay, so again, moving forward, so once we've calculated, or once you as the client has worked out your declared value of your goods, then obviously that needs to go towards needs to be put in front of the customs people and the tax authorities, and then you will end up with an amount to be paid. Now, common sense says that payment should be made before your goods leave the UK. So that would be, your liability to do that. If we take the process a little bit further, the only thing that's changed is that instead of having residencia, you've now got a non-lucrative visa. The customs process is exactly the same as it was before, in as much as that we've got customs clearance, we've applied through the UK authorities to leave the UK, enter Europe. We come down through Spain, in this case, or other transporters may go across the Bay of Biscay and come in through Santander. We come down through Iran. We've got customs clearance. We've cleared things with our customs agents in Spain. We're then cleared to come down to the warehouse here and get things ready to be delivered in the normal manner. The only thing that's really changed in that instance is the customer's circumstances and their tax liability. Have prices risen? Yes, they have. They have to rise because of the admin that's involved. 20% is probably a good starting point. In many cases, it could rise even further than that. But then again, you have to look at the reason for the rises. The reasons for the rises aren't just solely because it's a new administrative system. Indalo Transport and Indalo Storage, what we've tried to do is to add value to that price rise. Yeah, okay, we need to charge more because of the added administration, but we're not just going to charge for the administration, we will add value. Right? There's extra packing that we will do free of charge. We will supply all free packing materials, and we supply free storage. So there's things that are added into it so the client can benefit, not just by paying additional amounts of money. There's more planning to be done, so typically 3 months is what a normal case would take, where people give us the initial inquiry, we go through the survey, the quote, then we go through simple things like materials and packing, whilst the client is doing their own housework, if you like, which could be applying for visas and all the bits and pieces. 3 months is a good period to look at. Having said that, I mean, we have had cases, even now, where we're moving people within a few days, as long as we can get all the necessary paperwork done, and that it's things like proof of residency. We need copies of passports and things like that. As long as we can get the paperwork together, and as long as we have sufficient time to liaise with the authorities, we can still get things done very, very quickly. Typically, I would recommend 3 months. Okay, so is the process, the delivery process, taking longer to get clients' furniture here? Yes and no is the vague answer to that, but specifically, yes, because there's more planning to be put into it. But on the actual basis of leaving the UK and getting delivered in Spain, the trip is taking much the same time. We've had an occasion where our timings have been 24 hours out, simply because we've been stuck at the border whilst people in front of us have had to clear customs. And that's the only time that's happened. There have been stories, and I know of instances where people have their goods stuck in warehouses, they have their goods stuck on lorries in ports, where the paperwork has not been done correctly in the first place. However, that's more of a teething problem, and things do seem to be getting better as we move forward. So, yes, it can take longer because there's more planning to be done, but no, the actual physicality of it is not taking that much longer at all. 24 hours tops on the trip to come down. Okay, so how are we expecting things to pan out moving forward? We are inundated at the moment with inquiries, not all of them to do with removals, a lot to do with customs and properties and that sort of thing, but we see no signs of this actually slowing down at the moment. People are still very keen to look at holiday homes here in Spain, and why not? We're in the process now where people are coming out of lockdowns across Europe, so travel's about to start, and I'm sure the first sign of any slowdown would be property prices falling. That's certainly not happening in the UK. They've extended stamp duty deadlines. I don't see any signs in Spain of property crashes happening. There's lots of properties to be had, lots of bargains to be had, and I'm sure things will continue. I don't think that there will be such a huge demand for people to come and live in Spain full time, but I don't see any slowdown in the demand for property here for people to come and enjoy the sunshine. So moving forward, what do we see? There is going to be a continued demand. We knew this demand was going to be here because of the constraints of Brexit. We could only make plans based on what we knew, and the things that we knew were residency requirements, how people could live in Spain, how people could work in Spain, and obviously working in Spain includes ourselves. So we could plan for making sure that we were legal in every respect of employment law, of traffic law. We've had to change the way we look at our vehicles. We've had to change the way we structured the business. So now we're structured as a Spanish limited company, as a UK limited company. All of our employees, or all the people that work for us, without exception, are either employed or are autonomo. The days of doing cash deals in Spain, I think, are long, long gone. And we're proud to make sure that everybody that works with us and for us are legal in every aspect. The only way you can actually move ahead in Spain these days is to make sure that you've got all the bases covered. So yeah, it's been a lot of planning. If we go back 12 months ago, the time in lockdown wasn't wasted. We put an awful lot of planning into the business then. And Mick Cox, who owns the business, has done a fantastic job in actually driving the business forward, and here we are today. So yeah, we think we're well placed to continue our service. So the biggest change that we've had here is this huge warehouse, and it is huge, based in Palomares, in Almeria. Now, what we do here, we offer free storage to any UK international removal. Anybody coming here gets 3 months free storage. We supply all free packing materials to anybody going back to the UK as well. So it's been a huge difference to the offering that we can make to clients, and it's gone down very, very well. Yeah, there are additional things like customs and procedures and everything else, but the business itself and dealing with the business and being able to transact the business is so much easier in a place like this. We've actually put into place a system and a process that makes dealing with our customers and dealing with the authorities very, very simple. Behind us there's a huge wagon which has come down from Ireland, so we're attracting business from all over Europe. What is the single piece of advice that I would give somebody if they were looking to move their stuff to Spain? Well, quite simply, choose your remover carefully. Choose your removal firm in the same way as you would choose where you're going to live. You need to know that it's somebody that you trust. You need to know that it's somebody that can look after your bits and pieces. And you need to know that they're legal. You wouldn't want to send any of your stuff across Europe on the back of a truck that was illegal. There's no need for a removal to Spain to be complicated. It can still be stress-free. We always try to take the heat out of it, to take the stress out of it for our clients, by holding their hands right the way through it. So it can still be a stress-free experience. And Spain's a marvellous place to come to. You just need to make sure that you abide by the rules.